Yesterday, TV3 News brought you that exclusive interview with Director of Communications at the Presidency, Eugene Arthur, who confirmed that about 200 cars at the Presidency, Eugene Ahin, who confirmed that about 200 cars were missing from the seat of government. And the Administrator General also expressed surprise at this development. What we know now is that President Akufo-Addo is using a 10-year-old BMW, which he uses for his official duties in the Greater Accra region. Let's give you a breakdown of the missing vehicles at the Presidency. And there is a Toyota Land Cruiser 196 were expected. So far, the number available is 74. We have 122 missing. Then there is a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. 73 were expected. Currently, we have 20 and 43 are missing. Mercedes-Benz, 24 were expected, 11 available, 13 missing. Toyota Avalons, we have 26 missing, 2 are currently available, and the expected number were 28, and BMWs 6 were expected. Currently there's only 2, and we have 4 of that missing. So expected number of vehicles which the president of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo expected to see was 327, currently 107. We have currently 208 vehicles missing at the Presidency. And when we spoke early on with the Administrator General, he did indicate that they relied on the integrity of the chief directors to give them the accurate numbers, as they did not physically conduct checks on vehicles available at the Presidency.
So, all right, let's do more on that story. And the Administrator General, David Yaro, has expressed concern over claims that some 208 vehicles are missing from the pool of cars at the seat of government. Now, David Yaro said he was surprised at the development after parties in the transition team were urged to submit correct figures of assets.
Communications at the Presidency, Eugene Ahin on Wednesday said 208 official cars are missing. According to a document cited by TV3, there are a total of 678 vehicles under the Presidency, with 67 under State Protocol Department, 41 for General Administration, and 570 under VVIP category. The Administrator General, David Yaro, said he was disturbed by the event, adding the 2012 format of reporting state properties were improved upon before the 2016 transition period.
I feel so bad and sad that this is happening, because this new reporting format, we added a lot of information that was needed, and so all ministries, departments, and regional coordinating councils were supposed to go to the format, and if you did, then you captured every vehicle that you had, the type, the charges number, whatever. You captured it into your handing over notes.
David Yaro, however, alluded to not conducting a physical check on the information captured in the handing over note. He noted they were relying on the integrity of the chief directors.
Where we had doubts about this thing, we went, but even then we realized it wasn't beneficial. Since we are going to rely on the integrity of the chief directors and the directors who are going to draft this for the ministers, we said they shouldn't sign. Hitherto the chief director will sign. We said no, they shouldn't sign. The minister himself should go through, read, agree, and sign and certify that yes, what I'm signing is what is in my ministry.
So in the case of the Presidency, yes, who signed the document to certify that this is the truth?
Yeah, I think the chief director signed, but under the supervision of the chief of staff.
A researcher at the Office of the Administrator General, Walter Adambir, says the details provided in the handover note is traceable.
We have the vehicle type, the vehicle registration number, we have the user name. In fact, in certain areas, there is they indicate the person using the vehicles. In other instances, you have the particular unit in which the vehicle is. So it is stated that yes, the user, it's say this particular department, VVIP, and those kinds of things, protocol or state, or those other units. So that is how they are categorized.
We cross-checked to find out if the controversial Ford Explorer gift was captured in the handing over note, but could not locate it.
From our documents, one Ford Expedition was declared, but the number indicates that it was registered in 2011, which definitely cannot be the Ford Expedition that is being talked about.
David Yarrow stressed the need to review the Transition Act so that those who unlawfully take state assets can be sanctioned by the Administrator General.
And on the issue of the missing cars, we have Felix Kwachi Ofusu, is a former Deputy Minister of Communication in the John Mahama administration. Felix, good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Yes, Felix, what can you say about this number of vehicles that the NPP administration is claiming your government never handed over those numbers of vehicles to them? We're talking about over 200 vehicles here.
Well, I am sure you've seen the statement issued by the former Deputy Chief of Staff, Mr. Johnny Osei Kofi, this evening. Now, he puts out our position on this matter. What it says is that as of the time that we were leaving office, we had accounted for 641 vehicles. And if you check Mr. Osei Kofi's statement, he puts out a table in which the numbers of each type of vehicle is stated. And they add up to 641. In addition to that, he has put out a full list of the details of these vehicles, the type of the vehicle, the chassis number, the registration number, and the condition in which it was at the time that we handed it over. In fact, if you go into the handed over notes, the specific individuals or units within the presidency who are using these vehicles are stated. So the MPP has always been aware that these number of vehicles, 641, have been accounted for. Nonetheless, over the last few weeks, they have waged a campaign of disinformation. And every now and then, they put out claims that vehicles are missing. As a result of this, they have sent out thugs who are calling themselves invisible forces. In some instances, they are uniformed military personnel and police personnel. And lately, they have formed a task force. All claim to be going around seizing vehicles belonging to the state that they claim have either been unlawfully taken away or are missing.
Right.
Now, it is curious that
yes,
in all of this, the NPP has not been able to publish a list of vehicles that they say are missing and indicate who or which unit within the presidency those vehicles were. The second leg of the statement that Mr. Osei Kofi issued also sought to debunk claims by my friend Eugene Ahi yesterday that because of a scarcity of vehicles or because these vehicles are supposedly missing, the president is unable to find vehicles to use. So he now uses 10-year-old BMWs and sometimes his own vehicle. Now, this claim is also not correct because among the vehicles that were handed over to the MPP are 2 bulletproof saloon cars and 2 bulletproof cross-country vehicles, which are relatively new and much less older than the BMWs that President Akufo-Addo is using. Now, if the president can use 10-year-old vehicles, surely he should be able to use vehicles that are much less old. And therefore, we find it very, very surprising that the MPP would engage in this sort of disinformation. But we have put out the information so that the Ghanaian public is fully aware of where we stood as of 6th January 2017 when we were leaving office, as far as these vehicles are concerned.
All right. So Felix, have you seen the list that the Nana-Addo administration has put out there? Have you come across it?
Well, what they have put out is not a list. All that Eugene Ahi says that, for instance, they expect X number of Toyota Land Cruisers. They have this number. I hope you've also seen the list that Mr. Johnny Osei Kofi has put out. That is a thorough, exhaustive, and comprehensive list. He has listed 641 vehicles. He gives the registration number and he gives the chassis number. That is the sort of discourse that we should be engaging in. The NPP must publish the full details of these vehicles. If you say 4 Toyota Land Cruisers are missing, you don't convey anything. What you should say is that 4 Toyota Land Cruisers with the following registration numbers with the following chassis numbers used by the following individuals in the previous administration are missing, then we will be able to account for them properly. But at this stage, it appears that they are simply doubling in propaganda. We have accounted for these vehicles, and we are sure that the MPP, if they were being truthful, or that the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government, if they were being sincere, would know that these vehicles were accounted for, and that if genuinely they believe that some vehicles have not been accounted for, there are ways that could be used to trace them.
All right. So, Felix Kwachofusu, we are grateful for your time. He was telling us about, well, this missing vehicles, I'm sure there's a long way to go. We still need some more documentation to cross-check as media men to ascertain where the truth lies. You're watching News 360.